John Locke published an essay concerning human understanding in 1689. In Book 2 of the treatise, Locke argues that all knowledge is derived from sensation and reflection. This type of epistemology is known as empiricism. Empiricism contradicts Descartes' rationalism. Descartes believed that the senses could not serve as a foundation for the superstructure of knowledge. All perceptions, according to Descartes, might be illusions, like those in dreams. Instead, one must form knowledge based upon principles derived purely from reason, the first such principle being cogito ergo sum, I think, therefore I am. Locke counters Descartes by asserting that all knowledge is derived from sensation and reflection. Sensation is the sum of all observations made of external things, and reflection is the sum of all observations made of the operations within one's own mind. To support his claim, Locke adduces the relative lack of reasoning manifested by infants. Their reasoning capabilities increase inasmuch as they are exposed to new experiences and begin to contemplate the mind's handling and manipulation of those experiences. As another proof, Locke asserts that no man can imagine a simple idea that he has not already experienced. For example, one could not imagine the experience of seeing colors if one was blind from birth. In the consideration of physical objects, Locke asserts that all objects possess primary qualities, such as extension, form, motion, and number. These primary qualities have the power to produce secondary qualities within us, such as color, taste, sound, and odor. Thus, these secondary qualities do not exist within the objects, but rather exist in our minds. This chain of reasoning reminded me of Protagoras' relativism that was outlined in Plato's Theaetetus and Aristotle's Metaphysics. To briefly review Protagoras' position, he states that man is the measure of all things. In other words, if one man perceives water as cold, then the water is cold. If another man perceives the same water as hot, then the water is hot. Both Plato and Aristotle refute Protagoras' relativism by demonstrating that it violates the principle of non-contradiction. The same water cannot be cold and not cold at the same time. However, I believe that Locke's distinction of primary and secondary qualities affords a defense for Protagoras. Referring back to the water example, coldness and hotness do not exist in the water itself. The water, on the other hand, has the power to produce the sensation of coldness and hotness, but it is neither hot nor cold in itself. Perhaps it will be easier to understand if we consider another example. Consider the nature of fire. Clearly, pain does not exist in the fire itself, but we perceive pain when we touch a flame. Pain, therefore, is a secondary quality of fire, not a primary quality. Fire has the power to create the sensation of pain within us, just as water has the power to create the sensation of coldness within us. In chapter 27, Locke presents his theory regarding personal identity. He asserts that personal identity rests solely in the continuity of consciousness. Locke does not believe, as Descartes believes, that the soul is the essence of personal identity. Locke poses several absurd conclusions that result from Descartes' position. For example, if the soul is the essence of personal identity, then one soul may inhabit the bodies of several different people. When one man is asleep and unconscious, the soul may travel to another body, and therefore Descartes would incorrectly conclude that two different people are two identical people. Furthermore, if the continuity of the body is the essence of personal identity, then personal identity would change every moment. For particles of our bodies are separating from us, and new particles are attaching themselves to us at every instant. This is just a brief summary of Locke's thoughts concerning personal identity. I highly recommend anyone who is interested in examining Locke's ideas further to read chapter 27 in Book 2 of this treatise.